Hello and welcome back. In this short lecture, we're going to learn about how to deploy Office 365 Suite for Windows 10 devices from client apps. To begin with that, I'll be navigating to Microsoft Intune portal, and from the Microsoft Intune portal, all the devices configuration. You can check out here on the devices the configuration for a new computer, which is desktop F07EIGJ, which is compliant. It is currently used by David. I'm also going to add the David user to one of the group called Deploy Office 365 English version with Asia region specific. So there's an AD group we have, and to that group we have two members at this point of time. One would be the Dan, other one would be the David. So these are the two accounts we have already added. Now to create the package, what we will be doing is we will be actually going to client apps from the Microsoft Intune portal. Go to client apps, and here under apps you have the configuration to create by clicking add and select Office 365 suite. Here in this case Windows 10. And you have the two options. One would be the configuring designer option, which is you have all the options which we are gonna drive in this demo. Other one would be the XML format. If at all your packaging engineers have already created some kind of customized XML file, you can use that custom XML as simply paste that custom XML format file here, and that can be used for the deployment. So normally packaging guys or whoever the package that specific application, they also create something called answer file. Sometimes we call it as answer file, but they use some other tools like Office customization tool, and they create that wizard. They run that entire wizard. Whatever the wizard they run it, that would be saved in an answer file, and that is nothing but an XML format file, and that XML format file can be pasted here. So now we're going to run with the configuration designer option. So here I'm going to give the name. For example, I can give it here as Office 365 deployment, and I can give here some meaningful name and the description, and what kind of application is this, and whether this application is falls under what kind of category. Is it a productivity or business or computer management? So definitely this Office 365 falls in productivity, so I'm just taking that default configuration. And now display this as the featured app in the company portal. So by selecting this, when the people and users logs into a portal, it will be visible for them. They don't need to search for that specific application. So that's what the specific checkbox or specific option is clicking as yes. And remaining options you can enter like internal information, URL, or privacy statement or notes. And once you enter all these details, you can go back to configuration app. So this is where you are going to selecting what kind of specific applications or components to be installed. It's like you are doing a setup with a custom option selection. So here it's clearly showing that if you want access, you can select it or unselect similar options like Excel, OneDrive for Groove, or OneDrive for desktop, or OneNote. All these components are visible to you. You can select whatever the required options you have, and if you have the additional licensing, you can also request by taking like project license can be installed, or a Visio online plan 2 can be installed. All these options, it all depends on your licensing, and but this is just for the application how to deploy. But at the end it's going to be licensing. It's a different concept altogether, but you will be selecting here whatever the components you want. For example, you don't want Teams, but you want, maybe let's take the team, but you don't want Sky for Business example. You can select all in that way and click OK, and then it will clearly show you like 8 different applications got selected. The last category would be the app suite settings. This is where a custom kind of settings like whether this application suite has to be installed as an architecture of 32-bit operating system, specific components, or would be a 64-bit. So it all depends on your architecture. You can configure here, and also the update channel is nothing but a monthly channel or 6 months or annual, like that you can select it. So in our case, I'm going to select here monthly targeted, And let's go back to other settings. Especially here, I'm going to install the latest version, or do I have to go for a specific build version? For example, 1908 with a different build number, or just the latest. It all depends on us what kind of configuration we wanted to choose. But these all are the possible options you have when you're trying to deploy Office 365 for Windows 10 app settings. These all are our client apps. And coming back to the remote other versions of Office MSI from end user device, if you have already different Office builds, you can always request for it to be deleted or uninstalled automatically. It might fail if it is not proper MSI based installation, so make sure that since it is Office, it's gonna work mostly, but uh, if you're choosing any other applications that might needed some other interaction, then you might have to customize that in a different way, and should be deployed instead of selecting here as a Windows 10 for Office 365. You might have to select as a different application altogether, like Win32 specific, and then you need to convert into Intune Win format, and then that can be taken care of such kind of uninstallation and installations part. You can check out maybe other lecture which is relevant to the Windows app Win32 specific in that section. The section should be, if I'm correct, it should be the client app section. Check out that. And automatically accept the end user agreement. Yes, you can accept that if you want. User shared computer activation. If the users are sharing their devices, you can activate as the multi-user concept based. But in our case, it's not going to be a multi-user. It's going to be a single dedicated user. The last option would be the what kind of language of this Office 365 should be selected. So you have many options here, not just the one English language. You have all the possible options, so you can select it here locally, type whatever you are prefer, or whatever the prefer one you want to deploy it. In my case, I'm gonna selecting as English and clicking OK, and then one more time clicking on OK. That would actually create for us on Windows 10 specific one. So in my case, in fact, I have already have one application which is got created here, and this can be used for our testing purpose. So this has been already there, and it has an assignment in our case. So we have deploy Office 365 in English language for Asia Pacific one. So to do the assignment process, you can simply click on add and select whether it's going to be required or could be uninstalled or available for enrollment. So in my case, I've selected as the required, and then I did select it here including the group. So in my case, I did included specific to Office 365 group. In this case, if you can see, it is already grayed out because I have already selected in this in the previous requirement or previous assignment altogether. That's why it is coming up here. Once you have performed this, you can go back to the device installation status and verify whether this specific application is installed or not. So in my case, I have already I got it already the deployment, because if you can recall the starting of this video, we did just added the group, so it came automatically post to the adding to the group. So it doesn't take much time for us, but normally it would take maybe 15 minutes of the policy time, close to, but this recording took for me close to 30 minutes or so. And since I have a very good bandwidth here, it just downloaded and got to install this specific application. If you can see here, it is in the recent added list. And let me show you further information also on this specific one. For example, this is the machine. If you see here, it's just got installed like 6:10 p.m., which is close to 30 minutes or 20 minutes back. And this information you can export and you can check out the status. You can also check the status directly from the devices and select that specific device. In this case, it's going to be Windows, and this is the device. And go back to the managed apps. This is where it has been already installed, and if you click on this, it's gonna show you a proper steps that how much time it has taken. For example, this morning I have created this application and then also assigned for this group, and in this group I've added the user around 5:55, and then it got installed by 604. So almost it took doesn't take in much time, but that's how it was happened actually. If you can calculate the application attempted to install from starting time to till this, it does not take in much time. It has just the 15 minutes to 30 minutes max time what it has calculated for this specific deployment. This is how you're gonna deploy a specific to client app specific to Office 365 deployment. Thank you for watching this.